Have you noticed that there seem to be two types of response to the current whole corona situation? Probably the most common one is to back away, step away from what's happening, to kind of duck and cover, hide, go invisible, go dark. And the other response is actually to be a little bit counterintuitive and put yourself out there. So the question is, when you put yourself out there, how do you feel about that? And is there an underlying fear that's actually stopping you stepping into your true power? So I feel that this is a time that we're seeing where that's calling for leaders to step up. And if you know inside you that you have that leadership potential, and yet there's something within that's pulling you back, then let me share with you my unique framework for helping you get around the enemy, which actually has nothing to do with the outside world. The enemy is, of course, within you. And this time, if ever there were a time for you to actually confront that enemy within, it's now, because if you don't, all you're going to get is more of the same. More of that feeling of being stuck, the stagnation of knowing that there's a bigger you waiting to emerge, but really not knowing how to bridge that gap between where you are now and the true power that you have within you, that you know to be within you, that you really do need to unleash. So here's my framework for being that leader, the leader that the world really needs right now. Firstly, the only way that you can truly be at home with yourself and be that shining beacon of inspiration that so many of us aspire to be is actually to be counterintuitive and go towards your darkness. So every one of us has two sides within us, if you like. We have the shiny white light, and then we have the darkness that is the exact opposite of that bright, shiny light. But so few of us ever actually want to confront our darkness, mostly because we don't know how. But at some point, we need to make that journey. It's a hero's journey towards our true self, towards our dark past. And so this is what you need to do, and what in fact I've created, because I found myself in exactly the same position, wanting to step up, but simply not knowing how, and absolutely engulfed by fear and in freeze mode when I was going through a similar experience that many people are going through right now during the 2008 global financial crisis. And I felt the absolute frustration of being stuck and not able to move out of this fear. That's really what compelled me to create this program, which I call The Process. And this is basically the territory that we cover in this program. Firstly, we have to define your bright future, because if we don't define that, it's too scary, too confronting to go into your dark past. But having defined what you really, really need, we can then go back into the part of you that you're recoiling from, because what you need comes from a sense of lack, something you don't have. And that thing that you don't have is usually around fear of some sort. So it might be fear of lack, fear of not being liked, of social disconnection, rejection, fear of not being safe. That will tend to define what you want. So we go into the thing that you don't want, and that, of course, came from your childhood. So there's some childhood wound, and I'm not talking all woo-woo stuff here. This is common to, I believe, every single person on this planet. This, if you like, is the hero's journey, where we have to actually address what it is that is not the villain on the screen, but the aspect to us that's holding us back. I call this our core destructive belief, and it was created very early on in our life to keep us safe. So it's not inherently evil, but it might create a belief within us that we are inherently evil or not worthy or undeserving or too stupid, or so the list goes on. I have a list of about 200 core destructive beliefs that you get to choose from. It's a fascinating process. But once we actually go back to our past, our childhood past, where all those wounds were created, knowing that this is a natural part of being human, it's perfectly normal to feel this, we can then start to look more objectively at our core destructive beliefs. And I guarantee there will be one that jumps off the page at you and says, I'm the one. And unless we do identify this inner white ant, it's going to continue to sabotage our best laid plans and hopes. So having identified that, then we start to see the truth of what's really going on. And of course, that core destructive belief has nothing to do, no similarity with reality. It was just constructed at a time when we needed to be protected, when we needed to stay small. But you know as well as I do that if you've got a leader dying to burst from within, you don't need this core destructive belief holding you back anymore. In fact, it's counterproductive. And this is why it's so important that we reframe it and turn it into a core truth, something that actually becomes part of your messaging going forward, because it's tied into your greatest pain. And if you, this is the pain that creates connection with others. We're all looking for connection, right? So the fact that you can feel that pain and tap into it and not go numb is what creates the empathy for you to be able to relate to others and to want to genuinely help them. This isn't virtue signaling. You actually want to help people because you have suffered and you don't want to see that suffering continue in others. I hope that makes sense. That's a very, very revised down version of what I offer, the process. So the good news is if you are feeling stuck and that stuckness is coming from some kind of fear, that is coming from some kind of unresolved core destructive belief, I have developed a way to walk you through that. And even better, I actually have this program now available online. So I'll share with you the link. And this program starts on the 4th of May. If you're interested, just check it out. There's all the information you need to know. It'll be a small group. This is a very effective program. And if you really want to step into your true power, you know you've been given this time as a gift. So seize the opportunity because the window is shrinking. Thank you.